The paradox of urgency. So, this is something I've observed again and again. In many areas of life, whether it's health, wealth, money, finances, relationships, and some people are in a marriage, there's a certain sense of neglect and avoidance of investing time, energy, resources into those areas. And what happens is that they steadily and slowly decline, and then they get to the point where it starts becoming a very bad situation. Either in their health, they've put on a lot of weight, or in their relationships, they find that their partner has mentally, emotionally, physically checked out, or the bank account, the overdraft has gone to an extreme limit and they can't draw out any more money. So, what happens is, while they've avoided and neglected those areas, then it comes to a time that the pain is too high, and then they suddenly want to fix everything all in one go. And there's a sense of urgency that it needs to be fixed, and then they put a large amount of effort, what I call the grand gesture. They wake up, there's a sudden realization: I need to do my tax accounts, I need to file this paperwork, or I need to put some money into the bank account. And there's this rush of energy to try and correct the situation and put it back into good order. However, that very rarely works. When something gets into a state of real emergency, sometimes it's too late. I prefer slow, steady, consistent investment in every area of life. It doesn't immediately pay off. However, what happens is it avoids that neglect, that decline, and it keeps things ticking over. And then when things are going and you're putting time and energy in, you can push a little bit harder and you can improve on that area. I'm seeing it again and again, especially now it's the holiday period. A lot of personal development, self-growth, studies have been put on the back burner while people attend to other priorities, which I totally understand. Family, children, holidays, all this stuff takes priority. However, what happens is all that progress that's been made in the other areas starts to decline. And then what's going to happen over the next week or so is that as people go back to school, as people go back to work, and they start looking at those areas where they've not been investing, and they realize how much they've fallen back, there's going to be a sense of wanting to get back to where they were. And then that again is going to create a constant cycle of tiring oneself out by using all the energy to try and catch up. I'm not going to give any advice or suggestions. I'm sure if there's an area that you've been neglecting or avoiding, you're aware of it already. I'm going to focus on doing the things that I know are working, and I hope you get something out of this. All right, take care. We'll check in again later.